now it's time to go all the way back to units 1 and 2. So the first thing we talked about this year was parent functions and transformations. And so we used a formula, y equals a times f b of x minus h plus k. And f just stood for whatever function I wanted. I could do absolute value, I could do cube root, square root, whatever. A is what's going to tell us if it's vertically stretched or vertically compressed, and whether it's reflected over the x-axis. B tells me horizontally compress or horizontally stretch and reflect over y. H is right and left, and it's opposite of what is intuitive to you. And K is up and down. So looking at this first one, we have minus 5, so opposite of what you think, so that means it's actually going to go right 5, and up 2, so that's it for that one. Going to the right, I have a 2 outside. Since that's bigger than 1, that means that it's vertically stretched by 2. Then we go inside and we have a minus 3, so right 3, and a minus 1, so down 1. Next, our number in front has 2 pieces. It has the negative and it has the 2. So the negative tells me that I'm reflecting over x. The 2 tells me I'm vertically stretching by 2. And then at the end, I have plus 6, so we're going up 6. Going down to the next row, I have 1/2. That means it's going to be vertically compressed by 1/2. It's not because it's a fraction, it's because it's less than 1. The absolute value is less than 1. Plus 6 means I'm actually going to go left 6. And minus 3 means down 3. We have another one that has 2 pieces here. Negative means reflect over the x-axis. 1/2 means vertically compress by 1/2. And then we have left 7. This next one tries to trip you up because it puts the constant in front. So it's not about order, it's about the fact that this is a constant, so that's telling me up 8. Then we still have 2 pieces here, reflect over x, vertically stretch by 2, and right 4. And those really, the reflecting needs to happen before going up 8, but probably no one's going to come beat down your door with that. I just realized we don't really have a lot that are horizontally compressing, so let's add somewhere on the side of your page an example with horizontal, because that's where you can get tripped up. So y equals, let's say, 3x. Y equals 1/3 x. Y equals negative 3. And y equals negative 1/3. Okay, so when I have my coefficient inside, it does the opposite of what it would do vertically. So instead of vertical, it's going to be horizontal, and instead of 3 being a stretch, it's going to be a compression by 3. So looking at 1/3, since it's inside my absolute value bars, it's going to be horizontal, and instead of vertically compressing, it's going to horizontally stretch. It still can do 2 things though. So here, the negative now means reflect over y, and the 3 means horizontally compress by 3. Then I have a negative again, so reflect over the y-axis and horizontally stretch by 1/3. Okay, sorry about that. So now when I go to do domain and range, domain is my possible x values, and range is my possible y values. Domain is possible x, and range is possible y. And our default when we're doing domain and range is to do straight brackets, okay? Our default is going to be straight brackets. Versus when we go to the next slide and do increasing, decreasing, positive, negative, those are all default of parentheses. So it's a little different. All right, so domain. Domain is how far left and how far right my graph goes. So my graph goes to 1, from 1 to 2. And at 1, I have a open circle, so it needs to be parentheses. And at 2, it's a filled in circle, so it's going to be closed parentheses. Range goes from low to high. So my y value at the low part is 0, and it goes up to a y value of 5. It starts at an open circle, so it starts with parentheses, and ends with a filled in circle, so you need a straight bracket. Domain is left to right. So it goes to the left until -5, and goes to the right until 0, and it needs to be a parentheses because it is an open circle on the right side. Range starts at -1 with an open circle and goes up to 4 with another open circle. This one trips some people up. We start with 0, so I need a straight bracket at 0, and I go to the right. The next thing I hit is arrows. I go to the right forever, so this is going to positive infinity. My range, the first thing I hit on the bottom is arrows, top is arrows, so this is -infinity to positive infinity for my range. Domain is x values, so how far left, how far right, so -4 to 5, both with straight brackets. How low do I go? 0. And how high do I go? 4. Both with straight brackets. Have a nice little oval here. We'll study those more in the spring. I go to the left and to the right. To the left, I'm going 6, -6, and I'm also going to the right 6. I go down to 0 and up to 4. Last, we have a rational function graph. These have asymptotes on here. I haven't actually drawn the asymptotes. So what you want to do is look at the very edges of your graphs and see what they're getting close to. So they're getting close there, and then the bottom, and I've drawn in my asymptotes. So usually my domain would be -infinity, positive infinity, but as I start from the left and hit that arrow, then I have to stop once I get to an x value of 2. So -infinity to -2, union, that's a positive 2, sorry, union 2, positive infinity. Then as I go from the bottom, it goes down to -infinity, and then as I go up, I have to stop at 4, union, then I can start at 4, and go up, up, and away to positive infinity. Next, we're going to work on describing graphs. So first we have x-intercepts. So my x-intercepts are -2, 0, then I have 0, 0, and 2, 0. My y-intercept is also 0, 0. I have relative maxes at -1, 2. A relative minimum at 1, -2. Once I've written all of my points, I don't need the y values anymore. So I'm literally going to go scribble out any of my y values so I don't get confused when we go on to the next part. So next we're looking at increasing. Increasing means it goes up from left to right. So I'm going to draw my graph where that's happening. It's two pieces. It starts from the left, -infinity, and stops at -1. Then it begins again at +1 and goes to infinity. Decreasing means going down, or a negative slope, and that's happening between -1 and 1. I don't have any situations on here that are constant. Positive means above the x-axis. I'm going to do that in green. Here's my first piece that's positive and my next piece that's positive. So it's positive between -2 and 0, union 2 to infinity. And then it's negative everywhere else. So it's negative from -infinity to -2, union 0 to 2. So some things to remember is once we get down to this bottom part, it's only my x values, and everything has parentheses on this section. So let's look at one more example. So x-intercept, I only have one. My x-intercept is at -2, 0. My y-intercept is at 0, 3. I don't have any relative maximums. Remember, a relative maximum means it's higher than the points to the left and to the right. I do, however, have a relative minimum. A relative minimum is lower than the points to both directions, so 4 and 1. And last, while these other 2 points are not relative maximums, I am still going to label them because there is something important happening at them, which you can learn about later in calculus. So once I've done these first few questions, when I'm describing intervals of increasing, decreasing, positive, negative, I don't need y values, so I'm going to cross out my y values. You can do it very dramatically if you want. And now let's do increasing. Increasing means a positive slope overall, that we're going up from left to right. Up from left to right. So I'm going up from -infinity to 0, union 4 to positive infinity. Notice that is a 0 right here that we just did, not the 3. A lot of people want to say it goes up to 3. But I'm not asking how high is it going, I'm asking where is it going up. Okay, decreasing is happening from 2 to 4. This one does have a constant part. So there's my constant. It's from 0 to 2. Positive is everything above my x-axis. It doesn't matter that this one has a whole bunch of chunks that are above the x-axis. We can write it all together. -2 to positive infinity. And negative is everything else. I ran out of colors. -infinity to -2.